You guys ever hear of something called treating your inner child? You know, basically just treating yourself and still buying stuff that make you happy from things that still made you happy when you were just a little kid. Like that world heavyweight title back there, that was me treating my inner child. Well, I kind of did it again.
Oh, baby!
Yeah, I made the investment. Now, it's not a licensed WWE, $400 belt. It's just an eBay one, but it's leather, 2mm brass, super good quality. I wanted to put it in the case, but I think it's too big, so I think I'm going to do something with that back there or replace it with the TV that just doesn't work. I am the champion. Anyway, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Happy Tuesday. Today's video, I'm going to be doing something that I did about 5 months ago, but not exactly the same either. So, for those who remember when I did every team's NFL MVP, anyway, we're going to do that again today, but it's going to be the most important player on every team. Now, a lot of teams do have their MVP as their most important player, but not all of them. If you're confused with what I just said, well, we're going to get into that in about 4 seconds. Head over to gfuel.com, use code WyattzWorld, save yourself a discount on all G Fuel products, and let's hop into every team's most important player. Okay, so as you guys can imagine, we are back at the tier list because it's the most simple way to do this. Now, as you can see, it's not the MVP, it is the MIP, the MIP. No introduction needed for how this works, considering there's one category, so let's begin with the Titans. Actually, let's mix the teams up. I feel like it's the same order every single time, so I'll just drag some teams around. So, starting off with the Carolina Panthers, their most important player in my eyes, DJ Moore. Now, why I say DJ Moore and I should say Christian McCaffrey, because, you look at that team, you look at their win-loss, you look at their production when they do and don't have McCaffrey, it's night and day. But you guys can already imagine what I'm going to say. That guy doesn't play enough for me to consider his level of importance to be over somebody who consistently dominates like DJ Moore. Moving on, we've got the Chiefs, and clear as day, it's Patrick Mahomes. Anybody you're paying $500 million is going to be your most important player. Moving on to the next team, we've got the Bengals. Joe Burrow. Yeah, you could say Chase, you could say Mixon, but Joe Burrow is the foundation there. To make all the gears turn, to make all the clocks tick, you need him. Without him, Jamar Chase isn't going to be as good, and without him, Joe Mixon's probably going to get hurt. The reason I say that is because his workload would drastically increase because they don't have a quarterback talented enough to throw the ball down the field like Joe Burrow. Moving on, we've got the Baltimore Ravens. I do want to point out that coaches and O-lines will probably be said in this video. However, here, it's going to be Lamar. And I don't just mean to say 3 quarterbacks in a row, but I mean the facts prove it. If you look at him and you look at the team, they win with Lamar, they lose without him, whether he's a good thrower or not. He's like Jimmy Garoppolo, man. Might not look the prettiest, but he wins. Moving on, we've got the Giants. I'm probably going to go defensively and say Leonard Williams or James Bradberry. I hope both of them are still on the team and I didn't say something stupid. You could say Saquon, I guess, if you still think that there's a glimmer of hope he could turn into what he was, but I don't think so. Moving on, we've got the Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb is the most important player. Or, Miles. It's not Deshaun, and it's not Deshaun for 2 reasons. 1, we don't know if he's still going to be elite. He probably will be. But for 2, we still don't know if he's guaranteed to play every game. You're going to need somebody who's going to get you through the game with or without Deshaun Watson. Nick Chubb is going to be that guy, or Myles Garrett's going to be that guy. I'm going to be biased here. No, I can't be. I got to be real here. Myles Garrett, because he can wreck an entire offensive line. He can fuck up a whole offense by himself. So I'll say Myles. Moving on, we've got the Jags. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, their entire future is in his hands. They put everything on him last year. Josh Allen's great over there, but other than that, they don't have much for stars. No offense, James Robinson. I guess he qualifies too. But you look at the Jags, you think of one man. You look at one man, it's Trevor. And up next, we've got the Lions. And this is the one where people might hate what I say here, but I'm actually going to roll with the O-line. The O-line, I think, is the most important part in Detroit right now. They've got some defensive guys who can make plays, and that's great because they need it. But their O-line is solely responsible for not only providing Jared Goff time, but giving DeAndre Swift time to get through, getting him time to get around. They're the brains behind the whole operation to score points there. And yes, you could say that about any team. But as much as I love Jared Goff, he's not a guy who's going to be able to take control of an offense without an O-line and make it happen by himself. He needs them. They supply the points there. Up next, we've got the Falcons. Could be Arthur Smith, but I'm going to say Kyle Pitts. They should put everything into Kyle. Had a great showing last year. Yeah, one touchdown kind of sucked, but everything else was awesome. And especially this year with almost no receiving help and probably a half-ass quarterback, the amount of attention he's going to get is going to be through the roof. If he gets hurt, it's going to be a big uh-oh. Moving on, we've got the Texans. Lovie Smith. Why would I say that about him? You know, they got Davis Mills, a guy who literally had the same stats as Tua, a guy who could serve as a number one there. The reason I wouldn't say someone like that is because David Culley was basically set up for failure and forced out of a job here. There's some pressure there. There's a level of importance behind that coach. He better do something good with this team, or you better see an upgrade from David Culley, because if you don't, Houston is going to look, well, even dumber than they already have over the last 2 years. Up next, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom. And up next, we've got the San Francisco 49ers. Gonna sound as a shocker to some people. And I'm not taking a shit on him. I love him so much now, but Debo is not the most important right now in my head. I think all eyes are on Trey Lance right now, okay? He's had a year to sit back and ferment. It's still uncertain if he will be the day one starter, but the buzz around town is that he is going to be the future of that organization, much like Trevor. This man's being built up to be God. He is important to that team. He's important to that organization. And he's got some high standards. And I, by the way, think he is going to be excellent. Up next, we've got the Vikings, and that's Justin Jefferson. So now people might be confused. Why did I say Jefferson instead of Kirk, but I said Burrow over Chase? Not to dump on my own guy, but I just think Burrow is that fucking good, okay? Kirk is good, but I still would take Jefferson over him if I had to pick one to stay on the Vikings. Up next, we've got the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields. He's showing what he looks like in an NFL game, and to a lot of people in Chicago, the concern has already risen. You traded up. You went to number 9. You picked Justin Fields. The first bang quarterback I think you guys have drafted in how long besides Mitch Trubisky, who flopped for you. You need him to do good. Up next, we've got the Jets. I'm not going to say the entire O-line. I am going to say one guy, Mekhi Becton. That guy is capable of covering up to 3 people at one fucking time. The run game in New York when he does and doesn't play, the amount of time the quarterback has when he does and doesn't play is substantially different than when he's not present. I heard a rumor that they might get rid of him. I think that would be absolutely ridiculous. Other than that, probably Marcus May. I don't think Zach Wilson's that good, and Michael Carter's good, but I don't think he's that important. Up next, we've got the Dallas Cowboys. Dude, I want to say Dak. I want to say the O-line, because without the O-line, that team is fucked. If it's not Dak, and I do think it's Micah Parsons, honestly. I already not only think he has the ability to be one of the greatest players ever, but I've said it before, and it kind of showed this year when he didn't have a choice when Lawrence got hurt. That guy is capable of doing anything. You could put him as a safety, and I'd probably be more comfortable with him back there than Xavier Woods. I think a player of that caliber is the most important on the team, because if he's out, you're down a position everywhere. Up next, we've got the Colts. That's Jonathan Taylor, and it's not even remotely close. Scored like 120 of their fucking points last year just with his legs. Moving on, we've got the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill is your most important player now. You're paying a man that much who's going to come in there and, you know, drastically say he's going to change the culture in the game? Well, congrats. That's your star. Probably was Tua. Moving on, we've got the Packers. Okay, another pretty simple one, Aaron Rodgers. They know they need him. They know how fucking important he is. Up next, we've got the Rams. This one I thought about a little bit. And it's not Matt Stafford. I love him, but I don't think that he is the only quarterback who was capable of winning a Super Bowl on that team last year. I think I said it for the MVP too, and it's not Donald, it's not Ramsey. They're all good choices, but Sean McVay is the most important person over there. He's the grease for the gears that makes the clock turn. Moving on, we've got the Steelers. This is a pretty good one, too. You know, it's not Mitch right now. He's important, but they've been good without a quarterback for fucking years, man. I would like to give it to Mike Tomlin, too, but in this situation, I can't. You guys probably know who I have to say here. I'm just kidding. TJ Watt. Tomlin realistically is probably the most important. He has kept him in there forever as long as he's been the coach. But when you have a player as dominant, as unblockable, as menacing as TJ Watt, it's like a Myles Garrett factor. That man can wreck an entire offense by himself. You need him out there. Up next, we've got the Chargers. Herbert. He is so important to that team. He needs to be spot on. He needs to be precise, which he most certainly is. And moving on, next we've got the Raiders. I'll tell you what right now, if the Raiders go deep into the playoffs and Davante Adams has an electric year, it makes Davante look good, but it's going to make Derek Carr look even better. We've been giving Rodgers the respect for years when he's had Davante Adams on his side. Derek Carr has been making magic happen without Davante Adams by his side since college. Devontae Adams comes back to him, and they start lighting it up together. That tells you he's only had one missing piece. It's not a matter of Devontae making him good. He's already been good without him. Derek Carr is the most important person there. Moving on, we've got Washington. I'm going to go out of the blue here. Chase Young. He missed a lot of last year, if I'm not mistaken. And there's been recent news that Ron Rivera said he needed a reality check last season, too. But the thing about it is he is huge, he is dominant, and they picked him at number 2 overall just 2 years ago. All eyes are on him right now, or they better be. He needs to do good. And he needs to take control of that defense. He has an opportunity to be a monster. Up next, we've got the Titans. Derrick Henry, that's fairly obvious. We saw what they are with him, and we saw what they are without him. It's like a Jonathan Taylor thing. Henry is responsible for a ton of points there. Moving on, we've got the Saints, and I'm actually going to say Alvin Kamara. Kamara, when active, when healthy, he's capable of not only being a running back, but a fantastic receiver. Get yourself a quarterback who can throw, he's going to help you. You get yourself a quarterback who can't throw, he is going to help you. I think he carries a significant level of importance going into this year, currently. Up next, we've got the Patriots. I want to be outlandish here and say like Damian Harris or Matthew Judon. I would have said J.C. Jackson if he was still there, but even with Mac looking as promising as he is, we unfortunately know who needs to be said here. Bill. They would be an average-ass team if they didn't have Bill Belichick. We all know that. They'd be below average. Fuck. Up next, we've got the Eagles. So it's interesting. They just made a huge trade, which a lot of people say it cuts some leeway from Jalen Hurts, you know, comfortably saying if he does bad, they're going to have picks to replace him. To me, I see it as the opposite. I wanted to say Nick Sirianni, but I think Jalen Hurts is the key right now to look at on that team. Not only can he decide your future on a quarterback, he can decide your future on multiple different positions. Jalen sucks? Yep, go get someone else. Jalen's good? Okay, then you can get a linebacker. You can get a D lineman. You can get a wide receiver. You can get a safety. You can get a corner. You can get whatever the fuck you want. Jalen does good. That team is looking elite. For future picks, I should say. Moving on, we've got the Broncos. Russ. He is specifically there because he is the missing piece. He is the quarterback. He is the guy. Literally, the world is staring at Russell Wilson right now. Moving on, we've got the Cardinals. And yeah, I hate to keep saying quarterbacks, but Kyler Murray, with the long-term agreement he wants to strike, if he sincerely thinks he's the guy that's capable of earning all that, then he's got to show it. He doesn't have the Lamar or Jimmy argument. He's like 500. His throwing numbers aren't that great. His running's obviously great, but it's not as good as Lamar's because, like I just said, it circles back. It's not winning them games. He has to show he is an elite quarterback in this league. Moving on, we got the Bills. I'm sorry, but it's Josh. It's Josh. The guy does everything. Without an O-line, he's elite. Without Diggs, he's elite. Without his running backs, he's elite. You could put him out there with 11 sacks of fucking bricks, and the guy would probably still beat the Jets. And last but not least, we've got the Seahawks. DK? I could say Quandre, I guess, but their offense is going to be a problem this year, I think, and they're going to need to focus on it, and the eyes are going to be on somebody. Alright guys, and that is going to be all for my most important player on every single NFL team. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, you already know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I do my best to post every single day. With all that shit being said, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and as always, I will see you in the next video.